Are you doing intro?
Yes.
Okay.
We can do intro together. Well, I'll do it, and then I'll say, and you can introduce yourself. Do you like to introduce yourself, or do you want me to introduce you?
You can introduce me.
Okay, I'll introduce you. I need a long benediction for you.
Oh my God. Please don't be extra.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with my bestie, Amanda Pittman. The Amanda Pittman, okay? She is an author, she is a wife, she is a mother, she's a preacher, she's an Instagram extraordinaire.
You're giving a bio. Oh my gosh.
I mean, what isn't she, okay?
Wait, okay, but the most important thing is that I'm your friend.
Right.
Well, I mean, I'm a child of God. I felt bad saying that. In this context, in the context of the video, that's all I am. I'm your best friend.
She's my best friend. That's my girl. She's my homie. She's my rider. Okay, we say, but we gon' fight you. I kidding. No, we're not gonna do that.
No, I would. Sometimes I feel like fighting people for you, but I don't. When you love someone a lot, anything that's harming them, combat that, and it's kind of like God. Like.
So true.
I was just thinking about that. You know how people say we don't preach what we're against, we preach what we're for, but like God talks about what he's against because he doesn't like anything that's against us. You know what I'm saying?
That is so good. I love that. And that's so true because that reminds me of a conversation we had sometime last year where God was teaching me about loyalty. And he was like, I'm loyal to you.
Yeah.
If you're loyal to me.
No, that's real though. Like God's a ride or die.
God is a ride or die.
He is a ride or die. If God's for you, he's going to be against your enemies. I'm just saying. That just is what it is.
God don't play about us.
He does not play.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how you know it's a good friendship.
So
if you feel
good.
like fighting people for them, that's how you know it's real. I don't know if that's good advice. I really don't know, but I'm just saying stuff.
We don't want you to actually go fight anybody. We still want you to make it into heaven. We want to be able to see you there.
Yes. We want to greet you in heaven.
Right.
I don't want you in hell. Being like, Amanda, I took your advice.
This video is a mess.
It's a mess.
Can you imagine we get to the pearly gates of heaven and Jesus is like, do you know how many people fought because of you? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about our friendship. We're going to be doing a best friend Q&A. So some of you guys asked questions in my Instagram DMs, so we're going to get into it. Let's start something light. How do you keep the friendship alive and fresh? I love that question.
I would say constant communication, but being intentional about it. Because even whenever our friendship started, it's tricky because I'm typically not a very good texter. She likes to be super connected. I didn't want my natural inclination to not be a great texter to be an indication of how I felt about her as a friend. In full transparency, this is before I even knew I had ADHD, and I kept confiding in her saying I don't know why I am this way, but it's really hard for me to keep up with a lot of things at once. I'm trying, but I can't make promises because this is a huge challenge for me, and I never knew why. But I was like, you know what? Let's find another solution. If we text, great, cherry on top.
Right.
But let's set a date once a week that we talk no matter what. When we had this conversation, we weren't living in the same city. We live close to each other now, so I couldn't just drive to her place.
Right.
Setting that, I feel really enhanced our friendship. What would you say?
Yes, I would definitely say that changed the game for our friendship. When you were like, you know what, let's pick a day and let's pick a time, and every week on this day and at this time, this is when we're gonna connect. We were so all in that time, and I loved that. I felt like it was her honoring my desire to be connected, but also her honoring her desire to be connected as well, but in a way that worked best for her.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's a word.
It really is.
I think in the beginning, it might feel a little, it's not that it was rocky. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, I would say we didn't find a system that worked for us.
System.
We found it and we got on the same page. And
right.
I would say that Avrielle was super patient with me. When you feel like you're the person who's not making the relationship as good, I'm like, dang. Am I the drama? Have you seen
Am I the drama?
Am I the drama? No. She was just so gentle and patient with me, and that's honestly what I needed in that season. That also keeps our friendship alive, kind of supporting each other with what they need in that season. Not in a weird codependent way, but in just a supportive friendship kind of way. And in that season, I was renewing my mind on who I was, how to approach friendship. I was super sensitive too, and afraid of messing it up. And she was so patient with me, and it actually made me feel so much more at peace. I'm like, wait, this is a safe space. She's gonna be patient with me. I feel like I really needed that. So like, I feel like that even that give and take really helps friendship, because when you don't feel safe, it's really hard to grow a friendship.
Right, I agree. Sometimes friendships are one-sided, but in our relationship, it wasn't one-sided. It was Amanda was learning and navigating a certain season. You know what I mean? But she constantly communicated her desire to have a close friendship with me. It would be different if she was just playing me and not really talking to me at all, and then had no interest in me, and then I keep like pursuing. There has to be a desire on both parts, and it was very clear that there was. I also don't want this to sound like, oh, Amanda was like working on stuff. Like, I was working on stuff too, you know? Part of my desire for wanting a closely connected relationship was because I had my past friendship traumas where I felt like my relationships were one-sided. Part of it was coming from a place of, I don't want this one-sided relationship. I want this close connection. You know what I mean? But I did understand that things don't play out quickly all the time. Sometimes it takes time, and I think that we did a good job of being gradual and patient with each other.
I agree. There's like a learning period with relationships. We had progressed so far in our friendship. It was really deep, but I don't think we realized it was deep, but still in the learning phase. She's still learning like my sensitivities and traumas. I'm learning her sensitivities and traumas. Once we like really got past that learning phase, it also helped us to go deep much more quickly. I feel like your friendship taught me that. Like, every friendship will have a learning phase where you have to learn each other, and then you'll get to a place of like, oh, I feel very comfortable with you and I feel safe with you. So yeah, I feel like that's a huge piece of like a thriving friendship, is like being willing to learn each other.
Part of the reason we are where we are today is because we were so open and honest with each other about where we were at. And I think sometimes we're all about self-preservation, and it's like, if I communicate my vulnerability, she's gonna think I'm clingy. You know, if I tell her this is coming from a place of past trauma, she's gonna think I'm needy. You know what I mean? But every time that I communicated a past struggle with Amanda, and she did so with me, we always proved to each other that we were a safe space.
That's one of my favorite things about our friendship, is that it's safe. Like, that's everything.
Literally. I can completely agree. I literally was thinking about this today.
Really?
I was like, if Amanda goes 2 or 3 days or 4 days, you don't go 4 days typically, unless you're like super busy. But if Amanda goes 4 days without texting me, my mind never goes to, is she mad at me? My mind goes to, she's busy. Because if she had something to say, she would tell me.
That's true.
Sometimes with girls, we can be passive aggressive, we can be catty, we can be petty, like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything to her until she says something to me. But I feel like with Amanda, I just always know what's on her heart and mind.
Yeah, and I feel the same way both ways. And I think that's a huge piece too, is like being willing to communicate versus like trying to communicate passively.
I love that.
Okay, you ready for
We
question
gotta
two?
move. We gotta move on.
Okay.
How do you navigate a friendship considering all the major life changes that take place?
That's a good one. You should kick it off.
Yes, I like that question. It really does tie into the first question. We're constantly communicating. Recently, Amanda was writing her book. She was very tuned in. She had a lot going on. That was a major life change for her.
It was, yeah.
And she was communicating to me, hey, I love you. I want to be tapped in with you. The next week is going to be really busy, but I really want to see you. Let's do this day. Let's do this time. And sometimes that's what it takes. Even if there's a lot of changes going on, you need to have a level of intentionality to make sure that the relationship still remains. You know what I mean? And you still have that level of connection.
Yeah.
So I would say just being intentional and keeping in communication.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't have much more to add except like, if you have already anchored a system that keeps you guys connected, then the changes of life, it should be able to withstand that.
We had to keep that one short because
We
the first
had
one was
to.
like 3 hours
Just
long.
to prove that it was possible.
Right. How long have you been best friends and how did you meet?
How long have you been best friends is a different question than how long have you been friends, which is really interesting. Have you thought about that?
No, I actually haven't.
Yeah, because
thought
those are
about
like
that.
2 different questions. Okay, so we were both in a program together, an online program, and after the program, Avrielle DM'd me and was like, hey, I feel like we would be great friends. Did you tell me you were moving to Atlanta during that time?
No, because I don't remember. But I feel like I told you a little bit after because we weren't sure at that time. I think we were thinking about it. I think I might have communicated that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you say you're gonna visit Atlanta?
Yes.
Aha.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, it's rare that somebody just says like, I feel like we could be friends. I don't even know if anybody's ever said that to me.
Really?
Yeah, like that was just like a different experience. Like, hey, I think we would make great friends. Like, in the program, I had like a really great experience with her. It was like she wasn't weird or anything like that. She ended up moving to Atlanta, and we hung out.
I almost killed her.
Yeah, I was like, she like ran over a few curves and stuff like that. We went to an event. It was Patrice Washington. Oh my gosh, that's really hard to say. Patrice Washington.
Yes.
It's this and the sh. It was really nice.
It was nice.
It was a nice event, but we didn't like fully like know each other yet. And Avrielle was like, I feel like you're kind of guarded. And I was like, oh, me guarded? I'm not guarded. And like in retrospect, I think I was. We just kept talking and it really, really flourished from there.
To answer your question, I don't know how long we've been.
I have no idea.
It feels like we've been friends forever, but I know it has to be under 2 years.
Yeah. Do you think it's under 2 years? I don't know. I have a really poor concept of time, and all of my years are blurred together, especially with COVID. If I could guess, I would say 2-ish years. Like, maybe a little less, probably not more.
Bomb. Okay, what's next? How do you resolve conflicts within your friendship?
I like that question.
I like that question too.
One of the things that Avrielle does really well, it's one of the things that like I like to glean from her, like really learn from her, is gentleness. She is so good at gentleness. Like I'm like, you're like dripping with this fruit of the spirit. She doesn't take lightly the words she speaks. Gentleness is not my like natural inclination. Sometimes I'm like, speak now, think later. When someone else like models that really well, it's helpful for you to match that energy. A gentle answer turns away your wrath. And like whenever someone approaches you with gentleness, it just helps it to be a great conversation. So that's a key part of it. We never had an argument before because we just resolve conflict well. Like we're really good at it together. And I think that our personalities mesh, but also like maturity-wise, we're good at communicating.
Yes.
Whenever we approach each other believing the best. I don't assume you hate me. I don't assume you have bad intentions. I don't assume something wrong about your character.
Right.
And I love that because Avrielle is always quick to affirm who she sees me as, my character, and same like vice versa. If there's a conflict, it's like you and me against the conflict to try and solve it, but it's never like, oh, we're against each other. I've never felt that with you.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I feel like we don't assign labels to each other's characters.
That is everything.
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 We're never like, because you did this action, that makes you this kind of person.
You gotta stay away from people who start to misalign and label your character. That's a good sign like their hearts are not good towards you.
Yes.
You know?
I think you're so gentle too.
Aww.
I know you don't think you're the most gentle person, but I actually think you're so gentle. And I
you.
know that because I'm sensitive.
Okay.
So I would literally be like, okay, Amanda, that really hurt when you said that. But I haven't felt that way with you.
But I feel like you say you're sensitive, but I feel like you're really level-headed.
That's true.
Like, okay, so there are people who are sensitive as in like you're just emotional and you can't even see the truth in it. And it's like, well, I think you're sensitive in situations in which it's fair for you to be, but like you always weigh all things. Like, I like that. You know, I really like when somebody can like look at a situation and see something mentally and still feel something emotionally and not like attach the two. And you're good at that. So that helps. Maturity helps.
It does. It really is a maturity thing. And that's something my therapist told me too. She was like, you're really good at feeling your emotions, but also being able to think it through. So you're not moving based off your emotions.
She's really good at that. Like that's a strength of yours.
Yes.
Because I'll be honest, like a lot of women don't carry that. It's more of like a traditionally masculine trait, like, oh, I can think my way through. But a lot of women are like, I feel so many things, therefore, but you're really good at feeling, but also thinking, and I love that.
Yes. So if there's a conflict, say Amanda hurt me in some way, I always know, okay, 1, it's not intentional. 2, she's not a bad person. 3, we just didn't see eye to eye on this, and she must have made this certain decision because she wasn't thinking about it that way, you know? And I think that sometimes we also have to understand that we come from 2 different backgrounds, and I'm gonna have different sensitivities than Amanda. And I think that also plays into the learning each other part. I mean, we don't get into conflict a lot, guys. I'm just gonna keep it real.
It's
like,
rare.
we really don't. It literally lasts like 5 minutes. In the moment, we talk it through, we apologize, and then we keep it moving, and we literally keep no record of wrongs.
Yeah. There was one particular situation that was slightly more tense than all of the other ones, and in that situation, like, Avrielle took the time. She said, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just take a little time to pull away and think about things, and I'll get back to you, you know, after I've prayed about it and thought about it. And then when we came back together, it really helped and progressed the conversation. I think even the way that she approached it was really helpful.
The enemy can do so much with any part of darkness. And if there's anything in your heart that feels even a little bit dark towards your friend, the enemy can take that and go real far with it.
There's a quote that I like that goes, God can't heal what you continue to hide. Whenever you hide things in your heart towards a friend or even a spouse, there can be no healing that takes place. The scripture literally says, confess your sins one to another. I think it's a good practice with all of your relationships.
Yes, so good. Okay, I know this is becoming long.
That's okay. They're probably gonna love it.
Okay, good. Well, I have one last thing to add. I really think what also helps is that we both pray a lot over our friendship.
You know what? Go ahead.
We be praying.
Yes.
Like, I don't play games. And I think too, like, not to get super spiritual, but me and Amanda are both very prophetic, and I do believe that this is a God-ordained friendship. We know it's a God-ordained friendship, and the enemy just don't be liking prophets, okay? I'm not saying I'm a prophet. Amanda always says I'm a prophet, but
I think she is.
I know that we both have a strong prophetic gifting on our life, and the enemy is not gonna like that because we're gonna call things out and say things as they are. We both really love the truth.
Yes.
So I really believe that the enemy just does not like that.
Yeah.
So we've definitely been attacked before, but it's always been, I'll have a dream, or she'll have a dream, and then we're like, okay, cool, we see it come in and we pray about it.
Absolutely.
So I believe praying over our friendship has really kept us. The prayer is the glue to this relationship.
Absolutely, like a real relationship with God. You actually set the tone for that, because I remember I was living in Atlanta. We were both still living in Atlanta, and our relationship was still fresh. You're like, God showed me in a dream that, like, the enemy was trying to attack either you or us in the mind about each other, and it actually was a time. It was true, like, because she's a prophet, you know, or at least prophetic, whatever. And she was like, we need to pray. And we prayed about it, and it squashed it. And like, that set the foundation for the type of friendship we're gonna have. And it's great because it's like, okay, if anything like that arises, we pray against it. We don't nurture it. We don't explore that. It's like, no, we pray against it.
Right. This is so good. I'm excited to watch this.
I know. It's a good video.
How to make Christian friends in college and stay true to your faith in times of adversity. I think the answer to this is the way that you make friendships in any area. Whether you're in college, whether on your job, whether at church. People do not want to be friends with people that just give off a vibe of, like, I'm unapproachable, you're not welcome here. Just being warm and welcome to people, it really sets the tone. You know, I understand that sometimes we have had past things in our life, but just being able to be willing to open ourselves up.
I would also say, like, be willing to make the first move. Yeah. Whenever I was in college, I didn't realize it then, but in retrospect, I can see it now, that I had a very, like, entitled view of relationships. I went in thinking, why don't people want to be friends with me? Why don't people want to talk to me? I never thought, like, why aren't I being friendly to someone else? Like, why aren't I reaching out to talk to someone else? During that time of my life, I was a pretty insecure person. And so me putting myself out there is like risking rejection. If who I am is not enough, I'm crumbling. And I'm not at that place now. I had to learn to be okay with making the first move and putting yourself out there and not going in with this entitled mentality of, like, what can I get, and going in with a mentality of, what can I give. And you actually attract more people, you know, not in a manipulative kind of way, like, oh, I can give you stuff, so now you'll be my friend, but, like, from a genuine place, not expecting anything in return, not making it transactional, but just giving from this genuine place, and the right people will come.
I really love that answer. Really good.
Last one?
This is our last question. So last question is, how do you guys help each other when you're struggling?
First, we help ourselves. And I'll say this, because have you heard the phrase like, help me, help you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we help each other to help each other. When Abe is struggling or when I'm struggling, we're really upfront. Like, this is what's going on in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's going on in my mind. This is what I'm not sure about. It actually takes a lot of self-awareness to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We've both been to counseling with the same counselor, so that helps. But like, actually being able to communicate that makes it so much easier for the other person to help you. Whenever Avrielle approaches me and it's just like, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I'm doing, it helps me and it positions me to actually be a good help. Whenever I come to Avrielle and I'm struggling with something, she always points me back to Christ, especially at my lowest. In those moments, oh, here it is. Here it is.
I'm ready.
You know you have a real friend when they speak to your identity and remind you of who you are.
Oh, so good. I love that.
Like, that's what she does at my lowest. Like, she'll point me back to Christ, help me to see the truth, and she will say, this is who you are, Amanda. Don't believe the lies of the enemy. Like, to have a relationship like that is like the most precious thing, and I'm so grateful for it.
For me, when I come to Amanda and I'm like, I'm struggling about this, I love that she breathes belief into me. She really shuts down my limiting beliefs and then tells me, it's like the same thing, like she tells me the truth and she breathes belief into me, and that is just the sweetest thing. I love our friendship.
It's so sweet.
We have such a sweet friendship. I'm not even trying to brag, but I'm gonna brag. Okay?
But for real though, like, we don't have to downplay that it's good. It's like really good.
It's
you know?
really good.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's important to even be able to say that.
Yeah.
We need to also glorify really good, healthy, God-given friendships. I'm 20, how old? 27? I'd be forgetting my age. I'm 27 years old. It took time to be able to experience friendships like this. I just also too just want to encourage somebody. Like, if you're watching this video and you're like, oh my goodness, I want a relationship like that. I want a friendship like that. This came with prayer, but it also came with maturity. Maybe if me and Amanda met 5 years ago, maybe it wouldn't have been the right time.
I would have ruined it. I would have trashed it. Well, actually 5 years ago was okay, but like 8?
Oh my
No.
gosh. Me 8 years ago?
Avrielle
I was
says
a
like,
hoe.
Avrielle says like, oh, I really think we would be friends in college. I'm just like,
Yeah, she always says that.
And I don't think we would have been friends in high school either. Like, she probably had a bunch of friends. I was weird, didn't understand people.
Stop. I like
I'm
weird
serious.
people.
Really?
I did.
Okay. Well, I mean, see, she always says that we would have been. I'm just like, I really don't know.
Yeah, we needed to meet when we met because
agree.
we were ready for each other. The truth is, I don't know, maybe I wasn't ready. So just be patient. God knows the perfect timing to bring those relationships into your life, and just make sure that you're doing what you need to do to be the kind of friend that you want to have.
There are going to be some people who watch this video who have experienced loss in relationships, or maybe it's something's crumbled or things didn't go the way you thought they would. It could be with marriage or a dating relationship. It could be a friendship. It could be a family relationship that you expected to go a different way. It may not look like this, but I just want to breathe belief back into you. God is a God who loves to restore. He's a God who loves to restore above and beyond. And whenever he restores, he doesn't always put it back the way it was. He always does it better than the last time. And you have to remember, like, God is coming back, Jesus is coming back, and whenever he restores, actually, he's going to destroy the old heaven and the old earth, and he's gonna make a brand new one, and it's gonna be better than before. Just because something happened in the past doesn't mean that that's the way it's always going to be, because God can make something brand new that you didn't expect. And when he does, you wanna be ready to receive that. So keep putting your faith in God, not necessarily putting your faith in people and who they're gonna be to you, but in the character of God, who is a God who loves to restore and has good intentions for you.
So good. I love that. Okay, while you're talking, one other thing.
We're just gonna keep going.
We're just gonna keep running our mouths.
Yes.
When I think about who I was 8 years ago when I first got saved, and I was praying for godly friendships then, and God did. He gave me sprinkles of them. You know, I'm so blessed. I have Zemi, I have Nana, you know, I have B. There's just so many sprinkles he gave me. 8 years ago, I was in Canada. I was just all over the place, still navigating my relationship with the Lord. So I really believe that it wouldn't have worked I wasn't even in the right location. I was in Canada. But God had to position so many things and put things in place for this friendship to happen.
That's so good.
And I just want to say, like, God is a God of divine appointment. He is so intentional with how he does things and when he does them.
Yes.
So even for our relationship to happen, I needed to meet my husband who lived in the States at a specific time so that we could come together, get married, go through the immigration process, and meet my friend Amanda. Only God. Only God,
like,
guys.
Totally.
So
This is
guys,
fuego.
This is good.
This is fuego.
This is so good. I'm
like,
excited.
this is top tier content. You
Yes.
really should be paying for
Right.
it, but I'm just saying, at least hit the subscribe button.
At least hit the subscribe button. Amanda, tell them why they should subscribe.
Well, they should subscribe because this channel, first of all, is about to pop off. So you want to be one of those people who are like, I was there from the very beginning.
Yes.
You want to be one of those people, okay?
Yes.
So there's that. Avrielle is a girl's girl. So she's going to be down to earth, fun, friendly, keep it real with you, honest. But also, she's a powerhouse in the spirit. And so it's like casually drop bombs. You won't even be expecting it, but like, boom, like, wow, I just have wisdom that went straight into my heart. It's a great opportunity for you just to keep following along with somebody who is living their life for God in a very natural and real way. It's like, oh wow, this is how you can walk out your Christian life and like be a real person.
Right.
And I love that about her. That's why you gotta subscribe to this channel.
Okay, well, you guys heard it here first from Amanda Pittman. Please catch her in less than a year. She's gonna be so famous. I'm gonna have to make appointments with her assistant.
No.
Okay, so thank you so much for being on this video.
Oh my gosh, it was an honor. I have a feeling we'll do more because this was fun.
This was so fun. Yes, if you guys want more videos, actually, you should let us know what you want us to talk about and just put it in the comments below. But if you guys like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.
And share.
Yes. Bye, guys.